and is rated R. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is also rated R. We're going to spend this time discussing the movie in gory detail, and along the road we will talk about some adult content and use some of our favorite swear words.
In the name of the moon, I'll punish you.
Consider yourselves warned.
Welcome to Rocky Horror Minute, the podcast where we discuss the Rocky Horror Picture Show in excruciating detail, 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Kelly.
And I'm your other... I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm your other host, Leandra.
And we have a fascinating minute for you today. It is minute 79 of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Leandra, take it away.
We last saw Rocky straddling a boa, and what he does next is truly unfortunate.
Why did that sound like clickbait?
And what he does next will surprise you. Gyrating and really holding the boa up and in between his legs, he continues singing, "Rose tints my world, keeps me safe from my trouble and pain." He pulls that boa from betwixt his sweaty cheeks and walks himself over to stage right toward the wall, where he leans. Offstage, we see Frank's pink dish-gloved hand pull the D-Medusa, reviving Brad. He begins dancing forward in a way evocative of moving against his will, and he sings, "It's beyond me, help me, mommy." Continuing to move not of his own volition, he sings, "All be good, you'll see," and attempts to throw the boa from his hand for "Take this dream away," failing to do so. Then he falls to the ground. He inquires, "What's this? Let's see." And he caresses his left leg, raising it high into the air. He realizes and shares aloud, "I feel sexy." He briefly gets control over himself, standing up kind of disgustedly, or confused at least, and saying, "What's come over me?" And then again, under the control of other forces, raises the boa above his head with both hands and declares, "Woo! Here it comes again," while wobbling his face up and down, and it's a truly important and iconic point that he does that. He then punches himself in the crotch with both hands, doubling over. I don't know if that's intentional, but that's what it looks like. And Frank's hand is yet again seen pulling the D-Medusa. Janet is shown with her hands at the sides of her face and elbows out, and she begins to sing while really feeling herself. Not dancing exactly, but feeling great. And just as an editorial note, it's much harder to describe what she's doing because unlike Brad, her motions aren't really tied to the lines or emotions or dancing. It's just kind of she's there and feeling herself. So she sings, "Whoa, I feel released, bad times deceased." She giggles, putting a finger to her mouth, and starts sensually bumbling towards stage right. And she continues singing, "My confidence has increased, reality is here." She stops and plans to do the beginning of, I think it's gonna be a sexy move, and we'll have to see the next minute to see how it goes.
Yeah, nothing sexier than Janet in this routine.
It's going to be a tough act to follow Barry Bostwick because, as usual, he's making all of the right and best choices.
Yeah, and she couldn't be making worse ones, at least in terms of, like, being on beat.
And I get it. She was, like, ostensibly sick at this point.
Well, not ostensibly. I mean, I think she was. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Even Patricia Quinn admits that. She just thinks she should have shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, I guess Patricia Quinn isn't going, "She's faking it." She's just going, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, well, because specifically, I remember them talking about how awful it was for her to have to keep jumping in the pool and being soaking wet while, like, having pneumonia.
Yeah.
I laugh, but it's not that funny.
It's a choice that they made, and I'm sure it was not fun. And just as a reminder to listeners, all of this recording happened in the fall. There's no chance that they would have been doing this in the springtime when an Easter egg hunt would happen. So when people say that there are Easter eggs, real Easter eggs in this movie, they are lying to you. They are not your friends. They are being either wrong or dumb, and they should feel bad about it.
Yes, it's true.
Yes.
To me, this is some of the worst ADR we've seen in the movie in this scene.
Specifically with Rocky or with who?
With everyone. I actually was noticing it the most with Barry. And it's not his fault. It's just, like, so obvious that he's not singing anything, you know? Or at least not singing with his chest the way that he would be for this.
That's fair.
Yeah. And it doesn't, like, quite match up, basically, but...
I want to remind people yet again that Peter Henwood isn't the one singing at all in this. So the ADR is kind of equally, or I guess more so, worse, given that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised it isn't even worse with him than it is, because he was being dubbed by somebody with an entirely different accent who would theoretically pronounce words differently and, enunciate them differently. But they did a decent job with him. A lot of people do not know it wasn't him singing.
Yeah,
so.
and that was what I was kind of wondering, like, is it the worst of the ADR in the song? I don't think so.
No. I mean, I honestly think that everything about Janet's routine is the worst.
That's fair. Although, I love how she looks in this. This is the hottest that Janet looks.
Extremely hot
Yeah.
at all times. But especially, I never wanted a perm as badly as looking at her in this scene.
No perms.
Perms.
No.
Perms.
No.
Right, audience, listeners, write in if you think I should have a perm.
Yeah, leave it in a 5-star review. If even one person whose name is not Kelly leaves a 5-star review saying Kelly should get a perm, who said that? Then Kelly will get a perm. This is my promise to you.
It's true.
But yeah, her hair is like very, very big in this, and it is just incredibly sexy. And also, I love her beauty mark. I think I'm just now realizing again, watching it today, that she's wearing her earrings still, and her tealish green makeup doesn't actually cover her literal eyelid. The eyelid itself is black. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and watching this again, I was really struck by how, because of the various factors at play, lighting and such, how much you can't really tell watching the movie that it's teal or green.
Yeah.
Like, I can most people think it is blue that she wears, but I don't hold that against anyone, because it really, really looks blue in the movie. At least the version that I watch at home, which is the Blu-ray version, and any other version I can recall seeing. But it is more obvious in, like, production shots that it's like a teal color.
Yeah. But I only have one other note, and it's not super related to this minute.
Okay.
So
I have others, but what's your note?
Recently, we found out that Peter Henwood is doing one of his incredibly seldom public appearances this year. So in London in October 2024, he's going to be at a convention doing autographs and taking pictures, which I just think is so cool. If you live in the UK, go. And
yeah, I think it's super cool too. I saw somewhere posting that it was for the first time ever he was doing autographs and stuff? That can't be true, can it?
So I don't know that he's ever gone to a convention to
Mm-hmm.
do autographs, but he has signed things from time to time. An
Yeah.
important thing to note, though, if you go on eBay and look up Peter Hinwood autograph, it looks like it's incredibly easy to get. Those are almost 100% forgeries, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's the risk you run with a lot of autographed stuff on eBay, but yeah, 100%. Friendly reminder, I guess, that Peter Hinwood does not hate the movie or anything like that. I know that we sort of. I know we sort of helped perpetuate that myth, but that's not really the case. He's more. It's more like he's not proud of his performance in it, but he doesn't like try to forget it happened as I once believed. He sort of he posts about it and everything fairly frequently.
His Instagram is really cute about it, actually.
Yeah, and another myth that I can dispel that we originally perpetuated on this podcast, not dead. He
He's
is alive.
he is alive.
Yes.
Yeah. That was early on in our podcasting career, and I was just so sure that he was dead. And Kelly didn't correct me because she was like, "Well, Leandra wouldn't be wrong about something this fucking stupid."
Yeah. Um Also, I was almost as surprised to see they got Susan Sarandon for that con.
Yeah, that is again like maybe not as surprising, but still pretty surprising.
Yeah, she doesn't do this type of thing often, and it's not like it's like close to home for her or anything.
Yeah, but good for her. I know
Yeah,
that a lot of people in the Rocky community would love to get some pictures with her. She hasn't done one of these in a hot minute.
yeah, and she's charging fully double what the rest of the cast is, and honestly, good for her.
Yeah, but those are all of my notes.
I just have a couple more things. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Barry's routine because I really love it. It was, for better or for worse, a little bit of a sexual awakening for me at one point. I definitely think it's the first time I ever saw a man, at least a man who wasn't clearly like a cross dresser, like a drag queen or anything like that.
Not a queer coded man.
Yes, exactly, in lingerie and heels. And also he was so attractive to me to begin with, and the way that he acts in this, the whole thing was really, really something for me when I was like however old I was when I first saw the movie. And watching it as an adult, I'm like, he is such a great dancer and performer. Like
Right?
I mean, we always say that like Little Nell is the one who had the dance experience, but he had quite a bit of dance experience himself from Broadway and things like that. And I mean, he's on beat too with everything, every step. And he's also, nobody else is really acting the way he is in their routines. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Columbia, I can appreciate as a character maybe wouldn't be fighting the urge to dance, but Rocky would at least be confused, and Janet would at least be confused.
Well, I have some information from Richard O'Brien on that point, but
Oh, really?
yeah. But yeah, just generally, I mean, he puts so much like character emotion into all of his movements, and I know you touched on that already, but I can't overstate it. My other thing about this is when he says what's come over me, here it comes again. What what is that supposed to be referring to? Horniness?
Yeah, I guess that it's
Like feeling sexy and yeah.
I think there's a chance that this is kind of a holdover from the Rocky Horror Show because the D Medusa switch wasn't a thing. It was that everybody was drugged and they were sprayed with like horny pheromone juice, whatever.
Mm.
And I'm wondering if initially this was played more like waves of of that kind of going through his head, and he kind of pushed through and he's like, what's come over me? And then it comes back and he's like, woo, here it comes up. I'm a weeble wobble.
Yeah, it's an almost Nixon-esque performance of that line. Woo, here it comes again.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit nightmarish what he does with his face, but like still in a horny way.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody else could make that kind of gyrating jowl thing look hot, but he does. Like, you can't deny it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, in terms of what's going through everybody's heads, Richard O'Brien actually talked a decent amount about this on the commentary, and I was a little surprised by what he was saying. So basically he said, I released people from their kind of male-female polarized parameters. And then he started talking about, he said, Janet gets her power and is like living in her power through this, whereas he called Brad the hunter-gatherer male. He said the hunter-gatherer male gets lost. And then he went on and on about how this mirrors society. But
What?
yeah, that was the thinking behind this scene, apparently.
That is, well, I'm wondering if Brian Thompson went, cool, love that. No.
Brian Thompson?
Yeah, the
Jim
director.
Sharman is the director.
Jim Sharman. God damn it.
I'm your alpha.
Oh, no.
But yes.
Jim Sharman.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Brian Thompson is the person who did all of the beautiful stuff.
But yeah, I mean, I think that does line up with the lyrics, though. So that makes sense. I guess what he's trying to say is that the femininity or the loss of gender roles is empowering for women, but takes power away from men. I guess that's what he was going with. Because men are traditionally in power, so if you remove the gender roles, I think that's what he was talking about.
If that was conveyed, then that might have been like a really interesting thing. I don't know that that's the story that I saw.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely did get those emotions from the characters. Like, Janet definitely seems empowered,
Sure.
and Brad definitely seems lost and afraid. And he kind of reverts to this sort of helpless state where he keeps asking for mommy. So I guess, I mean, hopefully that's what that was, and not Richard O'Brien's incest fetish peeking in again.
No. Roll back the clock. It's been 0 days.
Since we mentioned incest. But yeah, so that was the commentary there. I thought it was interesting perspective, but that is all I have for this minute.
I guess let's go on to callbacks then.
All right. We have one of my favorites right at the beginning of the minute.
Yeah.
When Rocky has the boa between his legs and is gyrating into it, you can sing over his line, "We'll never use that particular boa again." And then there's a bunch of ones for Brad's scene, or routine. I've heard "What's 2 + 2" before he says "It's beyond me." When he's singing "Take This Dream Away From Me" and like shaking his hand with the boa, people will sing over it, "Take this boa away." And then when he says, he falls to the floor and says, "What's this?" The response is the floor, and then when he lifts his leg and says, "Let's see," people will say, "Your leg." And then "What's come over me?" Frank. That's an easy one. And then there's a whole thing for the beginning of Janet's that Leandra, you're gonna have to help me. I know it starts, "I feel real cheap, something diseased, my circumference has increased," but I forgot what comes in the middle.
Lots of people.
Yeah.
Janet's bit is, "I feel real cheap, Badly used and diseased. My circumference has increased. Yeah, I'll fuck for beer.
Ah.
It's good stuff.
It's relatable.
Would you fuck for beer?
I mean...
Have you fucked for beer?
I've fucked for no beer, so we may as well.
That's a good point.
It's like that classic tweet about, like, making fun of people for fucking the weed man for weed when you're fucking the text man for texts. Anyway, that's all I got, though.
Okay. I only have a couple more. In Brad's, you can say, what do you say when you come? And then Brad says, help me, mommy. It's, what's this, the floor? Let's see, still the floor. I like that one because he's still technically on the floor, but like the leg is also a good callback for that. And then when he says, I feel sexy, you can say, at least you feel sexy. And then, what's come over me, Frank? Here it comes again. No fair, he came already. And that's it.
Okay. Great stuff.
Yeah.
It's a fun, I mean, the floor show is fun for all.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Bye.
Later. Now, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, so get the fuck out.
To the late night double feature picture show.
Do 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 do. We last saw. Well, I can't ever say that Oscar's the dumb one, but it's really just everyone. We're all the dumb one. Anyway, we last saw Rocky's...